So we're going to do a quick demonstration on using Google SketchUp to create a Distill style piece of artwork, which we could perhaps model when we get into the workshop. So Distill has the style of having quite bold black lines, simple geometry, with spots of white or primary colour, red, blue and yellow. So I'm going to demonstrate first of all how to use these black sticks, how to create one of them, repeat it, rotate it, move it around in an accurate way so that you can try to create something that you have in your mind for somebody else. So first of all, delete this example. And on the the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the menu bar, and we start by drawing a rectangle on the page. So you can draw something that looks a similar shape, but in the bottom right, they'll say dimension. So it's just down here on the screen. So I'm just hovering my mouse over, and I'm going to type in 300, 12 millimeters for the thickness. So I can specify very clearly what size I want my product to be. I just press enter on the keyboard, and we have there our footprint for that piece. Furthermore, on the left-hand side is the push and pull tool, which is what's going to be used to give it some depth. At the moment, it looks like a sheet of paper and rather than a piece of wood. So when I hover my mouse over that surface, you'll see it gets a little blue spotted surface. I click and drag it, and I can click and drag that as high as I want. But again, I'm going to use my keyboard and specify that I want it to be 12 millimeters thick. And there you have your first stick shape. To select it, you can click and drag, but obviously if I just drag over certain sections, it only selects the certain parts. So I'm going to click and draw a selection box over the entire piece, and then right click on my design and then make it a component. So I'm going to call this grey, because I'll use a grey colour so it's easy for you to see on your screen. When you do it, it might make sense for you to use black as Distill does. So on the left hand side again, I'm looking for my paint bucket tool. It may well appear as a house on the right hand side of your screen. Just click on search, and there'll be obviously lots of different material types here. I mean, by all means have a play about, but Distill is a solid spot colour. So we're going to click on colours, and I'm going to scroll down to get the grey that I want. And when I click on the part, on the component, it does change it to that grey. So I can hide this pop-up by clicking the close panel, and I can see more of my design. But at the moment now I have got a single component, which I can now start to duplicate or copy. To copy it, I use the move tool. So over on this side here, we've got a little cross, and as long as I've got the shape copied, I can click and copy it by holding down the Options key on my keyboard for a Mac, or on the Shift button on the keyboard if it's a PC. So I drag it, and you'll see there's a green dotted line there. If you drag it upwards, it turns into the blue spotted line, and if I move it behind itself, it will then be the red dotted line. So I'm going to move it along the green. Now on the distance, again in the bottom right hand corner, it tells me how far away I've separated these. So if I said, for example, I want to do it 45 millimeters away, I can click that distance in and press the enter button. Even more clever, I can, without touching anything on my mouse or anything, I can put ×4 and press enter again, and it will duplicate the same thing, the same action, by me simply doing that. So I'll just show you that bit again. I'm holding down Shift or Options keys. I'm dragging my design on one of the blue, red or green axes, whichever one I choose. I'm going to do it a set distance, so maybe I want this one to be slightly closer, so I might change it to 20. Press enter, but without touching my mouse now. I've not touched it at all, I've not moved anything. I just times how many I want to do. So if I wanted 6 going up in that direction, it will just copy it. Okay, a little bit too much, mind, but you get the idea. You can select some of them and delete them, make it look more Distill. or you could use them to start rotating. So if I want to rotate this, it's again in my move section. There's a little rotate arrow, and then I click that onto the component. So I'm going to specifically do it on the component that I've got selected. You can use your arrow keys to change whether you're on the blue, so it's arrow keys on my keyboard, blue, green or red axes. So it depends on which one you want to do. You choose, but then you can rotate the parts. Obviously that's not the axes that I should be on now, so I'm just going to press escape and change it to a different axis, and then I can change the direction and move it that way. So I have one there. If I want to move this piece, I'm going to have to move it quite strategically. So I use the move arrow, and it depends where I click on the part. So if I want this corner to join this corner, I need to click it. But if I want this corner to join this corner, I have to select that. So just be really careful with where you select, and then you can obviously put those into position. So it depends on what you want, where you want it to go. So just select the top corner appropriately. Now, you can also select the bottom corners if you want and join that to the bottom there. That's also an option. The other functions I have is to shorten these. Now, at the moment, because this is a component, I want to edit it. So I have to right-click on it, edit component. Now, watch what happens when I edit one component. Because they're copies of each other, when I edit one, it edits all of them, which can be useful, but sometimes not. So I'll talk to you about how to do that. You'll notice when I'm using the push and pull tool, the distance in the bottom right hand side is changing. So if you want to shorten it by a set distance, you can put that on there. So if I want, I'll say I'll shorten it by 50 millimeters, and it will do that for me. But if I don't, what if I want to change just one and not the others? So again, I select the component, I right click on it, and I make it unique. So it has that unique element. I then right click on it again, edit component, and this time when I use my push and pull tool, if I change just one of them, it will allow me to do that. So you have to make a component, a copied component, it has to become unique for it to be able to work and to be changed independently of the others. So now I've got a component there that I'm going to copy that component. So just to remind you, I've selected it first with my arrow. I use my move tool. I hold down the option key or the shift key, and I'm going to then rotate this. So using the rotate tool, I'm going to rotate the design into this direction, on the blue axis, and then I go back. I'm going to change it to move now, and I'm going to put this further back so it's attached to this surface. So I'm starting to get a little bit more distill styling in my product by overlapping those lines and changing directions. Colour. Let's add some colour to this now. So a colour piece. So if I copy this component again, I'm going to select it, go on to press M on my keyboard for the move tool. A little bit of a shortcut there. Copy that piece. I'm just going to move it out of the way whilst I change it and alter it. Now, right click, make unique, and then right click, and I'm going to edit. So this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it thinner. So maybe it's only 4 millimeters thick. So I'm going to reduce it down. Try that again. Then I'm going to expand it out this way. So it's a long, thin panel. Let's make that 60. So I like to use nice round numbers. You can also change the colour. So at this point, I'm going to select red. Now I'm in edit component mode, and did you see there where it only edited the one surface? So if I come out of there and then use the paintbrush and click on it, the entire surface will change. So when you're in edit component mode and try to change a colour, you can change a single surface. But if you want the entire piece to change, you need to just come out of edit component mode. So now I have a piece that I want, a panel that I want to put into here. I'm going to get my M for move tool, or M on your keyboard. I'm going to be very careful about where I pick it up. So I'm going to pick it up at the top corner. I'm going to move this corner over into here. Actually, no, I'll put it into here. So click. And then if I scroll in, you'll see that the corner I've got, I'm going to put into that corner. And I can, if I choose to, I could move this piece after on top of it. So it's all just a bit of experiment. You can have a little go and sit it on top if you wanted to, or I could edit the component and make it short. And to do that, just to remind you, I select the part, right click on it, edit component, and then I use the push and pull tool. So push and pull. Now I'm going to select this end surface, and what's very clever about SketchUp is it helps me out. So if I wanted to stop at that surface, I just click, hover my mouse over the surface, and it will make it as short as it needs to be to fit in that space. And then just click away from that component to finish that editing process. I don't like this piece here, so I'm going to move that. I'm currently in rotate mode, so I'm just going to change that and bring it on top of the piece so that it has that more distinct distill style that I was looking for. So I think that's probably all you need to know really to be able to progress and to make some more designs. But I look forward to seeing what you've got next week. Good luck, folks.